When a luxurious yacht owned by Elon Musk erupted in flames during a tranquil sailing outing with his son, onlookers anticipated the billionaire would be devastated by the loss of his multimillion-dollar vessel. From their life raft, as the Aurora blazed and sank into the ocean, a 5-year-old boy, X, turned to his father and asked, "Dad, are you sad about our boat?" The Coast Guard crew that rescued them expected to find a traumatized family grappling with catastrophic loss. Instead, they encountered an extraordinary scene unfolding within the confines of that small inflatable craft. The words Elon shared with his son in that moment, and the profound wisdom X offered in return, left everyone speechless and reshaped their understanding of loss, gratitude, and what truly matters in life. The Aurora was a billionaire's modest masterpiece, a comfortable yet understated yacht purchased by Elon Musk for family gatherings and occasional escapes from his relentless schedule. That weekend, he cruised along the California coast with his 5-year-old son, X, and a lean crew of 3, savoring a rare chance for uninterrupted father-son bonding away from business demands and media scrutiny. The morning dawned beautifully. They set out from Marina del Rey just after sunrise, greeted by clear skies and gentle waves that promised a splendid day at sea. The Aurora, stretching 78 feet, featured 3 cozy cabins, a spacious deck, and all the modern amenities suited for brief coastal voyages. Elon had deliberately chosen a vessel that offered luxury without excess, avoiding the need for a large crew or an impersonal feel. X had been eagerly awaiting this trip for weeks. At 5, he was at the perfect age for adventure, old enough to appreciate the experience, yet young enough to marvel at every aspect of life on the water. That morning, he leapt out of bed at 5, already wearing the captain's hat Elon had given him for his birthday. "Dad, are we going to see whales today?" X asked over breakfast, swinging his leg under the galley table as he ate his cereal. "Maybe," Elon replied. "It's migration season along the coast. We'll keep an eye out." Captain Rodriguez, a seasoned mariner with 20 years of experience who had served Elon for 3 years, charted a course to a secluded cove near Point Dumais. He knew the spot offered shelter from strong winds, with clear waters ideal for swimming and snorkeling, activities X adored. The crew was small but efficient. Alongside Captain Rodriguez were Martinez, the engineer maintaining the yacht system since Elon's purchase, and Thompson, the steward handling meals and general operations. All 3 were professionals who appreciated working for Elon due to his genuine interest in maritime matters and respectful demeanor toward his team. By mid-morning, they reached their destination. The cove was as stunning as Rodriguez had promised, a crescent of calm water framed by towering cliffs, with no other vessels in sight. They dropped anchor, and X was thrilled when a pod of dolphins surfaced, playing in the waves stirred by their arrival. "Dad, look at them!" X exclaimed, pointing excitedly at the sleek gray bodies arching through the water. "They're racing each other." Elon hoisted X onto his shoulders for a better view, and they both laughed as the dolphins seemed to perform a private show, leaping and diving around the yacht. It was one of those perfect moments that justified owning a yacht, a memory impossible to forge in an office or rushed weekend between business trips. After the dolphins swam off, Elon and X spent an hour swimming in the sheltered cove's waters. Thompson prepared a picnic lunch, which they enjoyed on deck, chatting about sea creatures and quizzing Captain Rodriguez about navigation and how sailors once relied on the stars. It was a morning of simple joys, the kind of busy life often sidelines but which form the bedrock of the strongest family bonds. Elon was fully present, his phone set aside, his focus entirely on X and their shared adventure. The fire began in the engine room while they were anchored in the quiet cove. Captain Rodriguez, who had worked with the family for years, was the first to detect the acrid scent of burning electrical components. Within minutes, smoke billowed from below deck, signaling a crisis requiring immediate evacuation. Rodriguez was conducting a routine system check when the sharp odor hit him. With a lifetime at sea, he instantly recognized it as more than a minor issue. The smell of electrical fire was distinct and alarming. He called for Martinez, the engineer, who was monitoring aft-deck readings while keeping an eye on X and Elon playing a board game in the shaded cabin nook. "I need you below deck, something's wrong with the electrical system," Rodriguez said. Martinez set his book aside and followed the captain down. In the engine room, faint wisps of smoke revealed that what started as a small electrical fault was escalating rapidly. "Check the circuit breakers," Martinez instructed, hurrying toward the electrical panel. Before he could reach it, a sharp crack sounded, and black smoke poured from the panel. "This is serious," Captain Rodriguez declared, drawing on his training. "We need to get everyone off the yacht." The two men rushed to the upper deck, where Steward Thompson was preparing afternoon snacks in the galley. The smoke scent had reached this level, though it wasn't yet visible. "Thompson, we have a problem," Rodriguez said calmly but firmly. "Fire in the engine room, initiate evacuation now." Thompson nodded, years of safety drills making his response instinctive. He moved swiftly to the compartment housing the life raft and emergency supplies, while Martinez headed to the bridge to send a distress signal to the Coast Guard. Captain Rodriguez hurried to where Elon and X were still engrossed in their game, oblivious to the danger brewing below. "Mr. Musk, we must get everyone into the life raft immediately," Rodriguez announced with composed professionalism, though urgency laced his tone. Elon looked up, instantly sensing the tension in the captain's voice. He now noticed the smoke's odor and saw concern in Rodriguez's eyes. Years of navigating business crises had taught him to respond to emergencies with clarity rather than panic, a skill never more critical than now, with his young son relying on his guidance. His top priority was ensuring X's safety. The 5-year-old, initially startled by the smoke and sudden activity, looked to his father for reassurance. Instead of showing panic, Elon scooped X into his arms and spoke in the steady, confident tone he used during X's thunderstorms. "We're embarking on a little adventure, buddy," he said, helping X into a life jacket. "Captain Rodriguez knows exactly what to do, and will be perfectly safe." X's eyes widened with a mix of fear and confusion. "What's happening, Dad? Where's the smoke coming from?" "There's a problem with the boat's engine," Elon explained simply, ensuring the life jacket was secure. "When something like this happens, the safest thing is to use a special boat called a life raft. It's like having a backup plan. You know how I always talk about having one for important things?" X nodded, seeming calmed by his father's composure and the connection to concepts they'd discussed before. "It's a lot like that," Elon continued, leading X to where Thompson was inflating the life raft. "We have a backup plan for the boat, and Captain Rodriguez and the crew are experts at this." The crew executed the evacuation seamlessly, getting everyone into the life raft before the fire spread further. Thompson quickly gathered essential emergency supplies, fresh water, a first aid kit, signal flares, and a portable radio. Martinez sent the distress signal and confirmed the Coast Guard had their coordinates and was dispatching a vessel. The life raft was a sturdy inflatable Usia model with a canopy for weather protection, designed for 8 people and stable even in rough seas. Fortunately, the weather remained calm, making the transfer from yacht to raft relatively straightforward. As they drifted to a safe distance, watching the smoke rise from the vessel they'd enjoyed moments ago, X looked at his father with wide eyes. "Dad, will our boat be okay?" From their vantage point on the life raft, they had a clear view of the Aurora. The smoke had thickened, now billowing from multiple windows and vents. The fire, which started in the engine room, was clearly spreading across the vessel despite the likely activation of automatic fire suppression systems. Elon gazed at the yacht, now clearly beyond saving, with flames visible through the cabin portholes. He could have fixated on the loss, a significant financial investment housing personal items and family photos, with insurance complications and disrupted plans ahead. Instead, he pulled X closer and spoke words that would linger with all who heard them. "You know what, X? The boat did its job wonderfully." The crew exchanged surprised glances, expecting disappointment or at least frustration over the loss. Captain Rodriguez raised an eyebrow, struck by Elon's response. As someone who had worked for wealthy yacht owners for decades, he had witnessed a range of reactions to damaged or lost property, from rage to despair, but rarely such immediate perspective. How did that happen, Dad? X asked with genuine curiosity. It brought us here to share a wonderful day together, Elon explained, his voice free of the stress one might expect from someone watching their property burn. We had a great morning, saw dolphins playing in the waves, and spent time just being together. And now, when something went wrong, it kept us safe until help arrives. X pondered this, his young mind processing that the yacht's value lay not just in its physical form but in the experiences it provided. Like my toys are good if they make me happy? X asked, linking the concept to something from his own world. Exactly, Elon agreed. The best things in our lives are those that bring us joy and protect us. Today, our boat did both. Captain Rodriguez had already called for help, and a Coast Guard vessel was en route. As they waited, floating peacefully in the afternoon sun, something remarkable began to unfold in their small life raft. Rather than dwelling on the crisis, X was captivated by their new perspective on the ocean. From the life raft, sitting so close to the water's surface, everything looked different. Fish were visible beneath them. Seabirds seemed to fly closer, and the gentle rocking felt like the sea itself was cradling them. The raft sat much lower than the yacht, lifting them only a couple of feet above the surface. This new viewpoint transformed their perception of the surrounding marine environment. The water, a distant plane from the yacht's deck, now felt near and alive. Dad, look at this. X said excitedly, pointing to a sea turtle surfacing nearby, seemingly unperturbed by their presence. The turtle's ancient face and slow, deliberate movements enchanted everyone on the raft. It regarded them with what seemed like calm curiosity before diving back under. Its shell caught the sunlight as it descended. I see it, Elon replied, following X's gaze. He's probably wondering what we're doing in his neighborhood. X giggled at the thought of a turtle being surprised by human visitors. Do you think he'll tell his turtle friends about us? I wouldn't be surprised, Elon said, encouraging X's imagination. Maybe he'll go home and tell his family about the strange floating island with people that showed up in his ocean today. Engineer Martinez, one of the crew members, found himself drawn into the moment despite the unusual circumstances. I've worked on ships for 15 years, and I've never been this close to the water in daylight, he remarked. It's actually very peaceful. Like we're part of the ocean now, Thompson added, trailing his fingers through the water. On the yacht, we were separated from it. Here, we're almost in it. No one missed the irony that losing their expensive vessel had brought them this intimate connection with the environment they'd sought to enjoy. The crisis, which could have been traumatic, especially for a young child, instead became a unique adventure with its own special qualities. As they watched the yacht burn in the distance, X posed another question that proved remarkably deep. Dad, are you sad about our boat? The Aurora was now fully engulfed, flames spreading across the vessel. Even from their distance, they could hear distinct sounds as internal components succumbed to heat and pressure. Elon considered the question thoughtfully, shifting his gaze from the burning yacht to X's trusting face, then to the crew who had ensured their safety, and finally to the vast, beautiful ocean surrounding them. You know what I've realized, X, he said slowly. I'm not sad at all. I'm grateful. Captain Rodriguez raised an eyebrow, intrigued. I'm grateful to Captain Rodriguez and his team, who knew exactly what to do to keep us safe. I'm thankful for the morning we spent together, just you and me. And I'm thankful for this reminder. What reminder? X asked. That the most important things in life can't be destroyed by fire, Elon said, hugging his son. Like how much I love you and how much you love me. Like the memory of watching dolphins this morning, or how you laughed when the waves splashed us. Those things are more valuable than any boat, and they're still here with us. X nestled closer to his father, seemingly grasping the depth of these words. The crew exchanged looks, moved by a perspective that transcended material loss. Besides, Elon added with a smile, now we get to ride a Coast Guard boat, which might be even more exciting than our yacht. How many of your friends have done that? X's eyes lit up at this new framing of their situation. What had been an emergency was now transforming into a special adventure that made their day unique. As the Coast Guard vessel approached, X made an observation that left the adult speechless. "Dad, maybe this boat is like a gift you enjoyed. Like when you eat a really yummy ice cream cone, and when it's gone, you don't feel sad because you remember how good it tasted." The simplicity and wisdom of this 5-year-old's perspective stunned everyone on the life raft. Here was a child who had just watched a luxurious yacht burn and sink, yet he found a way to frame the experience as something positive and memorable rather than a loss to mourn. "That's it," Elon said, clearly impressed by his son's insight. "The boat gave us time together this morning and this adventure now. We shouldn't be sad that this gift ran out." Captain Rodriguez shook his head in amazement. "Your son has a remarkable way of seeing things, Mr. Musk. Many adults never develop that kind of outlook." "I learn from him every day," Elon replied, his pride evident. "Children have an innate wisdom we often lose as we age. They see the essence of things without the complications we add." The Coast Guard vessel appeared on the horizon, growing larger as it neared. "Look, X," Elon said, pointing to the approaching boat. "There's our ride home." "Is it a special boat?" X asked, his excitement mounting. "Very special," Captain Rodriguez explained, seizing the chance to educate his young passenger. "Coast Guard vessels are built for rescue missions. They can operate in nearly any weather and carry specialized equipment to help people in emergencies at sea." X watched with growing fascination as the vessel drew closer. "Do they save people every day?" "That's their job," Martinez said. "They're ocean heroes, always ready to help when someone's in trouble." This image of the Coast Guard as ocean heroes turned a potentially frightening experience into an adventure story with X as one of its key figures. The approaching vessel wasn't just a reminder of their emergency but a new thrilling chapter in their lives. 20 minutes later, the Coast Guard boat pulled alongside their life raft. The rescue team expected to find a group traumatized by their ordeal. Instead, they encountered a remarkably calm father and son discussing ocean wildlife, with the yacht crew sharing tales of their best days at sea. The Coast Guard boat was larger than their life raft but smaller than the Aurora, a 45-foot response vessel with a 4-person crew designed for coastal rescues. It maneuvered skillfully beside the raft, and the Coast Guard team efficiently secured lines to tow the smaller craft to shore. "Anyone injured?" a Coast Guard officer asked as they began transferring everyone to the larger vessel. "None," Captain Rodriguez replied. "And I must say, this was one of the most instructive emergency evacuations I've ever witnessed." The Coast Guard crew looked puzzled by this assessment, clearly anticipating people in distress rather than what turned out to be a group on an unusual but not unpleasant outing. X was the first to board the Coast Guard vessel, accepting help from a young officer with a wide smile. "Is this a real rescue boat?" he asked immediately. "Do you save people all the time?" The officer, slightly taken aback by the child's enthusiasm, smiled and nodded. "Yes, it's a real rescue boat, and helping people is our job." "That's so cool!" X exclaimed, already inspecting the equipment with unhidden curiosity. As they were lifted onto the Coast Guard boat, a young petty officer approached Elon with sympathy. "I'm sorry about your yacht, sir. That must be a significant loss." The officer, a woman in her early 20s with the practical compassion of someone accustomed to crisis situations, clearly expected to offer comfort to someone facing substantial material loss. Elon glanced at the smoke rising from where the Aurora had been, then at X, who was eagerly questioning the Coast Guard crew about their gear. "You know," Elon said, his response capturing everyone's attention, "I bought that yacht to create good memories with my family. Today, it gave us the best memories, despite the fire, and because of how we handled it together." The Coast Guard officers exchanged surprised looks, not anticipating such a philosophical response to the loss of a multimillion-dollar vessel. He gestured toward his son, now assisting a crew member with safety checks. "My 5-year-old just taught me that a loss is tragic only if you forget what you gained. We had a perfect morning together, and now we have an adventure we'll talk about for life." X indeed felt at home on the Coast Guard boat, asking about every piece of equipment and offering help with various tasks. The crew, initially formal and focused on the rescue, warmed to the enthusiastic child who seemed to view the day's events as an exciting adventure rather than a traumatic experience. The Coast Guard team exchanged glances, clearly touched by this perspective on what they considered a distressing incident. Besides, Elon added with a smile, X now knows his dad can stay calm in emergencies, and I know my son can find wonder and joy even when scary things happen. That knowledge is worth far more than any boat. Lieutenant Garcia, the boat's commander, listened to the exchange. That's a wonderful attitude, Mr. Musk. In our work, we often see people at their worst. It's refreshing to see someone find meaning in a tough situation. I can't take credit for it, Elon replied. It's my son who helped me see it this way. Children have an amazing ability to focus on what matters. As the Coast Guard vessel began its journey back to shore, X continued exploring the boat, with the crew now actively showing him various functions and explaining them in a child-friendly way. What started as a standard rescue operation transformed into something more akin to an educational tour, with X's enthusiasm infecting those around him. Elon sat with Captain Rodriguez, discussing the likely cause of the fire and the logistics of insurance claims and recovery efforts. But these practical matters seemed secondary to the day's deeper lessons. I've worked for many wealthy individuals over the years, Mr. Musk, Rodriguez said quietly. I've seen all kinds of reactions to property loss. I must say, your response today was extraordinary, especially in how you helped your son process what happened. I think it's he who helped me, Elon said thoughtfully. X didn't care about the yacht's monetary value or the inconvenience of losing it. He focused on our safety, the adventure we were living, and the memories we were making. That's a perspective we could all benefit from, Rodriguez agreed. The trip back took about an hour, during which X managed to enchant the entire Coast Guard crew. When they docked, he collected several Coast Guard stickers, posed for a photo at the helm while the boat was moored, and received promises from the crew for a proper station tour one day. By the time they reached shore hours later, the story of Elon's reaction to losing his yacht had begun circulating within the maritime community. But what truly astonished people was what he did in the weeks that followed. Rather than immediately replacing the Aurora, Elon launched a marine safety education program for families enjoying recreational boating. The program, dubbed Safe Seas, Happy Memories, emphasized not only technical safety procedures but also psychological strategies for staying calm during emergencies and supporting children through unexpected events. Partnering with the Coast Guard and recreational boating associations, it offered free workshops for families. These included age-appropriate emergency drills for children, psychological techniques for parents to help kids remain calm in crises, and technical training on marine safety equipment. That day, I learned from X, Elon explained at the program's launch, that how we respond to losses shapes how our children understand resilience. If we can find gratitude amid setbacks, we teach them that no circumstance can destroy what truly matters. The Coast Guard, initially surprised by Elon's interest in developing such a program, embraced the partnership enthusiastically. Lieutenant Garcia, who had commanded their rescue, became one of the program's lead instructors. In rescue operations, we see that the psychological aspect of emergencies is often as critical as the technical response, Garcia explained during a training. Mr. Musk and his son showed how the right mindset can turn a potentially traumatic experience into a valuable life lesson. X himself became an unofficial mascot for the program, occasionally joining his father at events and sharing his perspective on their adventure. His natural enthusiasm and positive framing of their experience served as a vivid example of helping children navigate potentially frightening situations. The program's motto, suggested by X himself, was, "Safe adventures create best memories." Within a year, the initiative expanded to coastal communities across California and began establishing branches in other states. Thousands of families participated in workshops, and preliminary data suggested participants. This concludes our narrative journey. I trust you found this gripping saga of intrigue, cutting-edge innovation, and astonishing discoveries captivating. From where are you tuning in today? I'm curious to learn which corner of the globe this tale has touched. If this escapade held your interest, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for a steady stream of compelling, mind-expanding stories just like this one. Fresh material is posted frequently, ensuring you're always in the loop for the newest spellbinding adventures. Be sure to pass this video along to your loved ones and friends. It's a great way to share positivity and insight while expanding our circle of story enthusiasts. Your encouragement is invaluable. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to welcoming you back for the next tale.